Welcome, welcome, viewers all over the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your location. This is Humanist TV Africa. We are here to explain or to teach or to give you informations about happenings in Africa, happenings all over the world. And today we are here at Humanist TV Africa with our topic, human rights situation in Sierra Leone, West Africa. We all know it has been all over the news that Sierra Leone on Sunday morning, there was an attack in the capital city of Freetown. And the attack was mainly targeted by, on a military barracks called Wilberforce. And so today I'm here with my team to discuss the present human rights situation in Sierra Leone, and we'll also discuss about issues leading to the attack on Sunday. And I'm expecting my guest, Mr. Prince K. Kalon from Sierra Leone. He will join us shortly. I want you to fasten your seatbelt, and so you will get an accurate information about the human rights situation in Africa. I am joined by my comrade and senior colleague, Mr. Kato. Mr. Kato, you can say hi to the audience.
Thank you very much, sir, for having me here today. And my name is Kato Mukasa. I'm very much keen on human rights issues in Africa and globally, and I'm happy to be here to talk about what I observe in Sierra Leone. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for the show.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Kato Mukasa. And yes, I started saying we are talking about the human rights situation in Africa. And we all know, talking about human rights situation in Africa, it's like when we actually don't have a name a name to give it to the present situation that is happening in Africa. We can only say that it's worse, it's getting worse. There is killing everywhere. There is abduction. There's a lot of things going on. So we are here today to actually specify a lot of things that are actually happening. And at Humanist TV, you will actually get the actual fact about the issues that is happening in Sierra Leone. Before going further, I would like to read a 2-minute speech by the president on Monday morning. It reads, Sierra Leone president said most of the leaders of weekend attack on the nation's main military barracks and prison had been arrested, though the capital remained tense on Monday, with many streets empty after 24-hour curfew was relaxed to a dusk-to-dawn lockdown after an earlier Sunday morning attack that raised fear of a possible coup in a troubled region. security forces continue to hunt for fleeing suspects and inmates freed from one of the country's major prison. So this was what the president said. I was looking at the causes. What was actually the cause for the attack? So I was thinking that it is because of the much human rights violation in the country. This is why that attack was done. Because in Sierra Leone there is no freedom of speech. There is freedom of speech. You can, like Comrade Kato said yesterday, there is freedom of speech. You can talk, but what will come after what you've said will be the issue for you to handle, or it will not be easy for you to handle. So we could say that there is no freedom of speech, and also um, there is nothing called democracy in Africa. I mean, in Sierra Leone and Africa as a whole. So, and our elections are selections. So, being that somebody has been selected to rule you, and he is ruling you knowing that he was not elected properly. So he has to rule you in the way that he thinks that is best for him. And this is what exactly is happening in Africa. This is what exactly is happening in Sierra Leone. Looking at the cost of living, looking at the cost of food, and looking at the population, and also look at the amount of minerals we have as a country with a very small population. You would think that Sierra Leone should be living like Dubai. Sierra Leoneans should be living like people living in the UAE. But hell no, we are not living like people in the UAE. We are poor upon all these minerals, upon the small population that we have, upon the small country that we have. We are still living in abject poverty. So I was thinking about the causes. What will actually be the cause? So one of the cause is bad governance. Bad governance, selecting leaders not by the people and ruling the people in his own way because he thinks he was not elected properly. He thinks in his own mind, he knows he was not elected properly. He knows he was selected by an individual. And the worst part of it, our constitution. Our constitution is so bad that the moment they announce that this person have won election, within 30 minutes, they have sworn him in as president. So there is no way you can fight him because even the court that you are going is being controlled by the president. It's being controlled by 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 the so-called government. The judge, the judges are being appointed by the president. So if Kato appoints me as a judge, Kato is now my president, and he appoints me as a judge, and somebody come and say Kato have stole 1 billion, Kato have stole 2 billion, and I want to maintain that position that Kato have actually bestowed on me, what will I say? I'm going to support Kato, whether I know it is wrong or right. I'm still going to support Kato because I don't want to lose my position. I don't want to lose the power that I have. I don't want to lose the security that I have. I don't want to lose the protection that I have at that moment. And this is exactly what is happening in Sierra Leone. So I could say that our country is actually on a blood. I mean, it's like a bloodstream because there is no day that you will not see a Sierra Leonean on the streets of Freetown dead. There is no day, there is not a day that you will not see a Sierra Leonean on the streets of Freetown dead. So how would you say a country like that is peaceful? 3 days before election, over 20 people were killed. 3 days to election, over 20 people were killed. Estimated, it is even above that. And you say that election was free and fair? A country which do not know how many people registered to vote, how many registered people were in Sierra Leone, how many votes were cast. No Sierra Leonean can tell you. The electoral commissioner was dragged all over by the social media in Sierra Leone, and he could not give an account on numbered registered or people that were, I mean, the amount of vote.
Yes, network issues there. My brother is a bit off. Of course, we're talking about the current human rights situation in Sierra Leone, and I am in the studio with a Sierra Leonean, a comrade brother, a human rights defender, Mambu Emmanuel, who has been taking us through issues human rights in Sierra Leone. My name is Katom Kasa. Of course, I'm a Ugandan interested in human rights issues, and I've been a lawyer doing exactly that, human rights kind of work in Africa. Now, I look at Sierra Leone as one, a very blessed country, a country with less than 10 million people. This is about 7 million people or 8 million people, a country in West Africa, a country with all the minerals you can talk about, all the minerals. And Sierra Leone, unlike Uganda that just discovered gold a few years ago, Sierra Leone has been having gold for decades, diamond, gold, and all these other minerals, and has a very, very fertile soil, Sierra Leone, and with a very small population. One wonders, what's wrong with Africa and what's wrong with Africans? I always ask these questions and people think that I self-hate. But I want to remind you that look at my skin, I'm black like you. But I always ask you people, what's wrong with us? What is wrong with black people, especially black leaders? What the hell is going on? How come we have a small country with all the minerals, with all the resources, that we cannot transform that country into a Dubai? And Dubai simply has one or two minerals, basically oil, and Dubai is flying first class. And Sierra Leone, a country with less than 10 million people with so much wealth, is having some of the poorest people in the world. So there's something wrong with black people. Permit me to say that. There's something wrong with us. Either our brains were watered down with so much stupidity, so much corruption, that we no longer think properly. There's something wrong with us. I always ask that question. Unless we people in Africa fix our stupidity, fix our corruption, fix our greed, we shall not continue, we shall continue warping in poverty as people in Africa. Look at, you mentioned Dubai yourself. And as you talk about Sierra Leone, I talk about Uganda, my country. Smaller country, 45 million people with all the wealth in the world. Whatever you have in Sierra Leone, we have it in Uganda. In simple summary. In simple summary. And actually, we have oil in Uganda. But look at my country, Uganda. Now, just suppose Sierra Leone, Uganda versus Nigeria. Nigeria has a wealth which is 100 times that of Sierra Leone. And maybe 150 times that of Uganda. But look at where Nigeria is today, where 50% of the population of Nigerians cannot earn £1 a day. Anyone can Google that. Leave alone these hopeless statistics they give us. But basically, a Nigerian, 50%, half the population, there are over 200 million people in Nigeria, over. But half of them, about 100 million people in Nigeria, live below the poverty line. Now, back to Sierra Leone. That's why you always ask, my theory is that something must be wrong with us. Something must be wrong with us, we black people. something must be wrong with us. The way we conduct our business, especially our politics, is so alarming. And when I say these things, people say, "Oh, you are westernized." No, I'm not. I'm not. Ma'am, I'm telling you, as Black people in Africa, until we say we have wronged ourselves, until we say that we need to find our way, either we are so much doomed by education, either we are so much doomed by religion that we are corrupted so much, something, Mambo, must be fixed with us. Because if you have a
Yes.
president, I was looking at your president going abroad, basically is one of the most traveled presidents in the world.
Oh yes, 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 yes.
I
Even on
was,
Sunday, even on Sunday, he was not in the country. He was in Ghana, and then he lied that he is in the country. Later, it was
that
known
guy,
that he was not even in the country.
that guy is one of the most traveled presidents in the world. It is a shame. The other day, I was watching his wife in either France or America giving a speech that you people, you hate us, you hate the first family, you hate the first family. His wife, shamelessly. And people from Sierra Leone were saying, we are booing her, shutting her down, shut the hell down. You
Yeah,
know, the
yes. It was
first
in
lady was
America.
big. Yeah, it was in America. I was watching. I follow. I'm an African who follows news, my friend. Me, I follow African news wherever it is. I was watching the first lady of Sierra Leone being humiliated in a party in America, in a party, in a public place. And I was
Yes.
like, thank you very much, Sierra Leoneans. I wish we could do the same for my helpless first lady in Uganda. I wish we could do the same. We must find a formula to humiliate these people whenever they are. The other day, I
Yes.
was watching a president from, I think it was Gabon or something, the French country. He had gone to France, and guys on the streets picked eggs. They came with dead eggs, rotten eggs, and they were like throwing them to the president. And this is what I like. I like people to continue humiliating our misleaders, to continue sending a message that you people, we are tired of you. We are not bad people. We are good people. We are not as corrupt as the world think we are. But because we are so corrupt, everyone thinks that it's our nature to be so corrupt. Yet in Africa, Mambo, in Sierra Leone, less than 1%, I repeat this, go research anywhere in Africa, less than 1% control the country, less than 1%,
Yes.
not even
Yes.
5%.
No.
The people who
It's
control
true.
the country are less than 1%. Whether it's in Uganda, whether it's in Nigeria, it is always less than 1%. At least 1% control the country.
Yes.
But all of us are like little hens, chickens. We cannot get rid of the 1%. And to make matters worse, the 1% control the economy and control the money. Mambo, in Uganda, people who are extra rich are 1%. Now, the question I was asked is, what is us, the 99% doing? We are waiting to die. Finally, Mambo, to come back to you.
Yes.
I've been watching, I've been watching, I've been watching videos you share from Sierra Leone. John Lucene shares from Sierra Leone, and I feel like, what's going on in this country? For the last 8 months, I've been seeing bloodshed on the streets of Sierra Leone in Freetown. For the last, I can recollect almost a year,
It's
I've been seeing
true.
people
It's, it's true.
getting shot on the streets of
Mhm.
Sierra Leone capital. And this hopeless president continues to go abroad with his big stomach full of worms, continues to go abroad to enjoy money of the people he's shooting dead. And
Yes.
I tell you this on TV, I was so happy when I heard there was a coup, and I'm so sad it never succeeded. Because I should tell you, me, I support coups. I speak that without fear or favor. Whether coup is coming in Uganda, well, I love coups. Linda never wanted me to talk about this. Whenever I could say, Linda, I love coups, say, no, Kato don't want coups, don't love coups. Coups are full of violence. I tell Linda, look, my friend, sometimes we need violence to create peace. Me, I'm a humanist, but I'm a very real humanist. I'm a realist. I'm a Marxist. I'm a Marxist. I know violence sometimes is needed. If you are going to change things, there is no way you can have a president for 37 years stealing us, killing us, and we don't think about a coup. It's wrong. There's no way you can have a president, the one who is ruling Sierra Leone, where people are being killed for the last 1 year on the streets. I see dead bodies, and people don't rise up to fight him. In law, finally, in law, there's what we call justifiable violence. We call it justifiable violence. In fact, a revolution in law is legal as long as it succeeds. I repeat this. In law, a revolution in law is legal as long as it succeeds. In other words, as long as it does what? Succeed. Now, I can pick up arms and fight a so-called legitimate government, because even apartheid or apartheid in South Africa was done by a so-called Botha government. Legitimate government was killing people in South Africa. So ANC had to pick guns to go and fight it. The same thing Museveni did in 1980, to pick up guns and go fight Obote. Obote was legitimately elected in Uganda. Legally, it means that if I pick up arms, Mambu, to go and fight a dictator, I'm legally justified only on one condition: I must win. You get it? The law says you must do what? A revolution must succeed. Now, the moment you don't succeed, you're a criminal. Not those words. So the guys who had wanted to make a coup had my full support. But the moment they failed, now they are criminals. Now, lesson number one, as I end, a revolution is right, a coup is right, but make sure you succeed. I want more Africans to pick up whatever they can to fight their existing regimes. Me, I'm not Linda. Me, I'm for change. And that's it. Over to you, Mambu.
Yes. All like I always say that the issue about Africa, about Sierra Leone, is not only about Sierra Leone. It's actually something that is in Africa. Everything you've talked about Uganda is just the same in Sierra Leone. And then the only difference there is because Sierra Leone, we are still on the selection. There was a 10 years of the last president, Ernest Bai Krumah, and then there is another 10 year for Madabio, who is now in power. And we look at a lot of things that actually that are responsible for this violence. You know, like unlawful arbitrary killings, cruelty, inhuman treatment of citizens, you know, punishments by government or on behalf of government. Because we have some people, they are very happy about it, like the 1% you are talking about. It's true. We have Sierra Leoneans, if you talk bad about or say anything bad about the present president, that person will straight away see you like an enemy. The person will say, you don't love Sierra Leone. You don't want to develop, you don't want this to see the development of Sierra Leone. And then I asked myself, where is this development? What is the development you were talking about? When someone say, hey, Madabio is not a good president, he's always traveling, he's always this, he's always that. And then somebody will tell you, a friend will tell you, it's like you don't want to see the development of this country. And when you ask them, what is the development? Somebody will say, you don't want to see good road. And then they will see something like, and where is this good road? as compared to the mineral resources in this country, as compared to the population of this country. Where is the development? What is our president, what is our leaders doing? What are they doing? And it's not that they are not seeing these examples out of the country, because they are always traveling. Their families, their children are out there. They see the development in these countries, but they will never copy them to bring them back home. Instead, they will prefer to steal the money and then take them to America or to England, buy properties there, because they know after their term, they will just run away and go to England or to America to stay there. This is the issue of Africa. This is the issue of Sierra Leone. And then you see the 1% that are maybe having a little bit of the drop from the hand of the president, and they will be there to kill, to arrest, to beat anyone that will say this government is not a good government. You will be termed as somebody who wants to overthrow. You'll be termed as somebody who wants to see the downfall of the country. You'll be termed like some of us. If there are some people in Africa, if they watch Humanist TV, or they see what I'm talking now about, the actual fact that I'm talking about the president, they'll say, oh, Emmanuel doesn't want to see the development of Sierra Leone. Emmanuel doesn't want to see the growth of Sierra Leone. And then if you ask them, what is the growth as compared to what you see in another country, as compared to the population, as compared to our mineral resources? Because these are where, and then you see every day the revenue is going up. Taxation, high cost of living. The poor is becoming poorer every day, and the rich is becoming richer. This is what is happening in Africa. This is what is happening in Sierra Leone. The other time, the first lady was in America, and she was saying that her husband had a PhD in coup.
Yeah, I watched that.
Yes, the first lady was saying it publicly, that the husband have a PhD in coup d'etat. And again, if you look at it, it's true, because the husband was involved in a coup in 1996. 1993, he was involved in it. He overthrew Strasser and became a president. And Strasser was his best friend. You can see the way he is very ambitious for power. His best friend, they took power and he gave him a position. And he was in the government. And then after some time, he gang up and overthrew his best friend. And then he became the president. Because of the pressure on him, he was actually pressured heavily by the international community at that time. He handed over power. There was an election, and he handed over power to late President Ahmed Tijan Kaba. He took the money of the country and went to Ghana and invest. He did not say, okay, I've handed over this power peacefully. Now let me sit down and invest the little I have in my country to see that my country developed. He never did it. He traveled to Ghana and established a business. He went to America and bought a house. He went to America and he was there. And now this same man came back to Sierra Leone and stand for power. And then you can see that the stupid Sierra Leonean gave it to him. They made him a flag bearer. And there were a lot of threats. If you don't support, if you don't this, if you don't that, there were people who at that time, you will never see them again. Somebody will go to bed at night, and then in the morning, you will never see him again. Who will you ask? You will never, you don't have anybody to ask. You don't have anybody to ask, because you didn't see anybody come and take him. Our so-called civil society are not working anymore. Civil society, They are now siding the government. If you speak against the government, you are an enemy and you want your life. You don't want to leave your country. You don't want to leave your family. So what will you do? You side the government, especially when you have been handled some parcels. So this is what is happening. So a lot of these things, a lot of we can even thank God because of technology, social media. Otherwise, there will be a country that everybody, I mean, half of the country will be dead and nobody will know out of the country. Because now these things, the sooner they start, somebody will just pick up his or her phone and start to do recording. That is why we see a lot of these things out. And then if you ask the minister now, he will tell you that no, that maybe only 10 or 15 people were killed. But in actual fact, it was 50 or 60 or 100. They will never tell you because they don't want their image out there to be bad. They always want the good, and they are not doing this good. And they know the difference between good and bad. So the human rights situation in Sierra Leone is very, very terrible. I cannot
Yes.
imagine this.
No, I was going to add something there before you. I mean, I just interrupted you a bit. Sorry. Um, you have talked about so many things which are very touching. Look, when you look at a country like Cote d'Ivoire, you look at Chad, you look at Guinea, Bissau, you look at Niger, you look at Burkina Faso. All these countries are synonymous with coups, military coups. But what is resembling between Burkina Faso and Sierra Leone in terms of this president you have is the betrayal of our friends.
Yes.
Who betrayed Thomas Sankara?
Blaise
His
Compaoré.
best friend, Campore. The guy he had gone to school with, the guy he had shared his food with, the guy he had trusted with power, betrayed Thomas Sankara and had him shot over 30 times. The guy he was sharing with everything. And why? Because Campore was compromised by Mitterrand, the president of France, and others. And this I speak without fear or favor, that the French government of that time compromised Campore, and Campore hatched a plan which they say involved Charles Taylor of Liberia and others to kill the greatest man from that region, from Burkina Faso, Thomas Sankara, who had ruled for only 4 years. In fact, Sankara had led, not ruled. In Africa, we have rulers, but Sankara was a leader. Why do I bring Sankara when I discuss in Sierra Leone? Look at your president and what he did to his friend. And look at this very president, what he did when he was told, okay, don't have this presidency now, wait a bit. He steals everything because he had the power, and he goes nowhere, but he goes to Ghana, and he goes to Europe, and he goes to the US to do what? To invest monies stolen from his own country. As I speak today, I will not mention companies, but my research shows that the companies that get monies out of Sierra Leone are from the UK. I have the names of the company. I can actually mention them. These companies are from the UK. These companies are from Russia. These companies are from Norway. These companies are from Israel. And these companies are from the USA. These are the companies exploiting the minerals of Sierra Leone. And they don't end there. They're actually exploiting the minerals of Uganda and the rest of Africa. These companies from these mentioned countries. Now, I always mention this and say that these companies have quite a lot to call the corporatocracy. Our governments are being ruled under what I call the corporatocracy. Corporations rule us in Africa. I repeat this, Mambu, for the viewers to digest. Companies, I call corporations, corporations rule us in Africa. Our presidents are mere puppets of corporations. That's why I call it the corporatocracy in my new book. I haven't released my book, but this is one of the theories I'm going to advance, that Africa is under a new wave of dictatorship called the corporatocracy, from the word corporation. And I have names of companies that are stealing Africa dry. Go to Ghana, they are there. Go to Nigeria, they are there. Go to Sierra Leone, they are there. In Uganda, they are there. Companies from specific countries are stealing our own resources. But how are they doing it? They have the blessing of our own hopeless presidents and parliamentarians. Tallow oil is one of them. Tallow oil is one of them. Stealing everything Ugandan oil from Uganda. I'll even mention that because I've had a fight with them. Tallow oil. Now, I have a list of these companies which are stealing our own resources with the blessing of hopeless presidents like that of Sierra Leone, hopeless presidents like that of Uganda, plus the parliament, plus the cabinet. Now, Mambu, there is no way Africa is going to develop when we give our treasure, our treasury to hyenas and traders. Look, in Africa, we don't have leaders. We have transactional dictators. They are not even benevolent. There's what we call the benevolent dictator. In Africa, we have what we call transactional dictators. They are there for one thing only, for their own stomach. Sometimes they say for God, and I help them to add for God and my stomach. They have sold our countries. I always use the word mortgage because I read economics and my degree, my master's degree is international commercial law. So I use commercial words. I say they have mortgaged our countries. They have mortgaged Africa to the best bidder in Europe, the best bidder in the US, the best bidder in Russia, the best bidder in Asia. Chinese today own at least much of the land in many countries in Africa. Chinese, I speak this. Not that I'm against Chinese. I love Chinese. But why are they taking much of our wealth in Africa? I went to Ethiopia. The year is 2017. I almost got dazzled that Ethiopian economy has been taken over by the Chinese as I speak. They were the one constructing roads, constructing airports, constructing almost everything. Ethiopia is developing, but at what cost? Loans. Look at Kenya. Chinese have taken over Kenya. Look at Uganda, where I come from. Chinese have taken over Uganda. They are everywhere. Look at Mali. Look at Zambia. Look at Zimbabwe. I'm not against Chinese. I'm not against Chinese. But why do these hopeless governments of ours take so much loans from the Chinese? Chinese to the extent of owning our airport in Uganda, owning the airport in Kenya, because they are demanding money from us. We must pay them. We must pay back. We must pay back. They are going to own our banks. They are going to own our hospitals. They are going to own our airports. Why? Because we have transactional dictators in Africa. We don't have leaders. The 1% in Africa, the 1% in Africa has made us suffer. Mambo. They are good at getting loans. Where do the loans go? They go in their investments in the same countries that give them the loans. I repeat this. The same countries that give them loans allow them to go back and invest in the same countries. Now, are these loans helping us? I'm arguing this in my book. Are these loans helping Africa, or they are helping individuals to grow rich? Finally, look at Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone up to now, I always say, what's wrong with this beautiful country? A country with less than 10 million people, with all the riches. It must be Dubai. One day, a Ugandan was in a conversation with a Dubai, with an Arab. I'm going to end with this story. A Ugandan was in a conversation with an Arab in Dubai. The Arab told him that Uganda has the best soils in Africa. Uganda has the best climate. Look what Arab world, look what Dubai, it's too hot. I was in Dubai. I can tell you Dubai is hell. Dubai is hot. Uganda is hot, but Dubai is worse. So the Arab told this Uganda, look, our country is too hot. We have sand, not even the soil. The only rich we have, wealth we have is the oil. But look, at one point, your country, Uganda, was ahead of us in the 70s in terms of development. But look at where we are now. Your country is like a child, and for us, we are the adults. Why? Because we got our leaders to serve us. And by the way, if we give our leaders to Uganda, this is the point I was making. If you get leaders from Dubai, our politicians from Dubai, our king from Dubai and everything, our structure, our government, if you get our leadership in Dubai and we take it to Uganda, in 1 year, Uganda will develop. And in 5 years, it will be an equivalent of Dubai. But if you got the leaders of Uganda, listen to this. If you got the leaders of Uganda, the politicians, technocrats, and everyone, and we transport them and put them to Dubai, Dubai will be like Uganda, and Uganda will be like Dubai. In other words, saying, if we exchange leaders, you get it? If we exchange leaders, we give you ours to Uganda, you will become Dubai. And you give us yours in Uganda, we shall become Uganda. It was the biggest insult to the Ugandan. It was the biggest insult to the African. That look, you Africans are so hopeless that if we gave you our leadership, we would develop you. But if you gave us your leadership, we would go back to a third world country. It was the worst insult to an African. But here we are. And the man was right. Because the guys in Uganda have got all the resources. But as I speak now, we are one of the highly indebted poor countries. Google it. We are among the highly indebted poor countries. Google it and ask yourself, how much has the debt helped Uganda to develop? If you get the 20 highly indebted, Uganda is among the 20 highly indebted poor countries. 20 highly indebted. But ask yourself, how has the loans helped us to develop as people in Uganda? So we Africans have a problem. And I've been saying this till people say I'm wrong, but I think we have a problem. And until we say we have a problem, we shall not move forward, Mambu. Back to you, Mambu.
Yes. whenever you explain a lot of things about Uganda, I'm just seeing it's like a mirror. It's like when you stand in front of a mirror, you see yourself through. So everything you are talking about Uganda is just the same in Sierra Leone. It's just the same. And then you have among the 1% who are actually supporting this government in power. They're actually happy about what is happening. This is what I call heartless. When you always think about yourself and forget about the others. Very, very heartless. Because I have water to drink. So if cattle doesn't have water, I don't care. This is among the 1% that are enjoying. Because they have water, so I should not cry for water. If I cry that I don't have water, it means I am an enemy. It means I don't want to see the development of my country. Why? Because he is enjoying the water and I don't have it and I'm thirsty. I also want to drink. He will not give it to me and he doesn't want me to cry for it. This is what is happening. Because they are connected in the system, they are benefiting from the system. So if you are not benefiting, you are not seeing any, and they are not even bothered about the road, even their drive, like they drive from your office to your house. even when it is not maintained, or even they drive the main streets, even when they are not maintained, which are the responsibility of the government. You know that the government is supposed to do this work. And even when they are not maintained, you as an ordinary citizen, that you are not benefiting from this government, you should not say this road should be maintained. If you say it, it means you are an enemy to the state. This is what is happening in our countries. So if I'm not if I see that the roads are not being maintained properly, according to what I know, that this country is supposed not to be in this condition, and if I say it, it means I am an enemy. Why should I be an enemy for saying the truth? Why should I be an enemy for like telling the government his responsibility? And then you see some of these politicians or the government, you see them like if they have tried like a 2-kilometer road, which is very substandard, if they've tried to do it, and then you see the citizens, some of these naive citizens, they are very happy for that 2 kilometer, as if it was a favor being done to them. Not knowing that it is the responsibility that they are trying to fulfill their responsibility. They are seeing it as a favor. But me, I don't see it as a favor, because I know it is your responsibility to do it. So if you are doing it, I should not even be happy, because it is even substandard. It is not up to the standard that it's supposed to be. So why should I be happy?
Yes. Mambu, I agree with you, of course, definitely. I wanted to suggest that maybe Dennis would play some of the videos before the time expires, because the discussion is very interesting, but I thought you had videos that prepared for our viewers to see, just a few of them, and then we shall be able to see. Yeah, you can see what's happening in Sierra Leone.
See, the military officer. Yes, people are killed. This is Kato, this is a military officer that was targeted on Sunday morning. Yes. And he's a colonel. He's a colonel in the military. This is a former security to the former president. He's popularly known as Leather Boot. Yes, he was tagged as one of the culprits to the Sunday attack. But yes, this is another. They were tagged as culprits. The issue is, if you are the moment somebody points at you that this man is among them, there is no way of investigation. You meet your death, and that is what is happening exactly now. These are wanted. Dennis, you could wait a little bit. The man in front, Mohamed Toure, he was a former AIG of the North. I mean, the northern region of the country. He was a former AIG. So when the present government took over, he was seen as an enemy of state because they say he was supporting the then government, the APC government. So now he is wanted. He was arrested before, and I think he's one of the people that escaped during Sunday's prison break, and he has now been listed wanted. And you can see the man in the black extreme, Major Patrick Abu. He's even a friend of mine. I know him very well in Sierra Leone. He was one time my senior in school, and he is also a major in the military, and I see his name as wanted. So these are the wanted, and they are key position. I mean, they have key positions in the country. Most of them are military officers, and these are just by handpick. Somebody will just stand and say this person was among them, or this person, just because maybe they know that you were affiliated to the then government or to the then party, and you'll be pointed at they are part of it. And a lot of these people have run away from the country. Yes, these are the list of wanted people now, and there's a price tag on their head, which is 50 million in Sierra Leone leons. That if you point at them or you try to see, oh, this person was among them, anyone that sees them now, and you could see the man and the white is a former AIG in my own region. He was a former AIG, the police AIG in my region, and now he's once wanted because he supported the then government even down to elections. So now that his party is not in power, and they see him as threat to government because he's a former AIG. He was also being retired forcefully. He was given a leave to retirement.
These are the top business marriage they lost. Unless they come they lost. Hey, put them on fire. Don't catch it on. I catch it on. Wait now.
Who was that? Was he among the coupists?
As alleged. As alleged. And you know, one thing about this whole thing is the whole accusation is on the opposition party. The man there, Soriba, he was a key security man in the then government. And these are people who they have been hunting them, finding a way how to trap them because they see them as threats. So this is a very good opportunity for them to trap them. And again, in my own opinion, Kato, when I think about it, I will see that this whole stuff was a setup. In my own opinion, I think it was a setup by this government just to find a way to trap some of these guys.
A consultant for go by Hastings. Now this motorcar we hear gunshots na the area. Then they come park na so all kind of ammunition inside this gun here. Inside this motorcar. All kind of ammunition there. So they are the call for security. Then they come police motorcar na here. And a soldier motorcar back home. Look at the team there waiting inside. And the team there were gun and they all team inside it. Yeah. So do we call for security, men go come. As soon as see inside now, you see the soldier team there. See the RPG. All team there, look the blood. And they don't empty soda box, they don't want to go by Hastings. Right now, they don't want to go by Hastings. So we call on the security, men they come here right now, consultant. We with the civilian right now, we're afraid because we like be at stake. Afraid we all afraid right now, so they call on them, please, men go come, men can rescue, men can police to Canada. Now they see now all kind gun there. see. Jesus. Maybe I will call on the security now.
In the first video, he had a military man was saying in Creole, we dey kill them all. It means we are going to kill them all. We are going to wipe them all off. A military man was saying it. We dey kill them all. Who are the all? The question is, who are the all?
The opposition,
The all?
I think.
The opposition. The opposition. Or even if you are not in the main opposition group or party, but you that will say what is happening is wrong, you are part of the all. If I stand and say what is happening in my country is wrong, the government is not doing anything to develop my country, I am part of the all. So that is the meaning of that all.
Yeah, gentlemen, the leather boots this. And can attack jail you. Don't one out, drop them. Yes. And I saw they drop the all by God in power. Yes. I saw they drop the all. Leather boots. It is sky for Issa now. Now Issa now let up. Let up now. But then Liam. And leather boots this. Now they don't so don't put on now. Now. Don't bobo call you foot say with ass. Rubbish team.
Kato, even if I don't explain now, I think he hears some of what a military man was saying. You know, we've dropped leather boots, you know, and even using abusive languages. We've been using abusive language. So this is how they see their citizens.
Now, I know people them are now. I don't know so.
That was
Oh man, it's just important. What? That is lovely.
I don't know if they're prison.
Oh, leather boots.
I can see bullet wounds there. I think the situation is tense in Sierra Leone. And of course, as we have been saying, governments in Africa always use such a situation to intimidate, to witch hunt, and wipe off the opposition. So that's why some. If you are going to carry out a revolution, plan effectively, because it must succeed. If it doesn't succeed, you become a criminal. Now, if you ask me, go for a coup, I'll tell you, plan. 3 things: plan. If you can't plan, please don't have a coup. If you can't plan, please don't have a revolution. But if you ask me, do you support a coup? Yes. Do you support a revolution? Yes. Do you support government change? Yes. By whatever means necessary. Mark that word. By whatever means necessary. A government that is bad must change. But again, I conclude by saying, how does it change? Ensure that you win. When you win, the law embraces you. When you fail, the law takes you as a criminal. So right now, I can only sympathize with the coupists. But yes, it was their failure to win. Now they are going to face the consequences. Next time, Mambu, if you are going to do a coup, we must win.
I don't think, in my opinion, again, I don't think that was a coup. Their target was to free the inmates, because after the hit on the military armory, they went straight to the correctional center and released prisoners. They went to the female correctional center and released prisoners. They did not
take the gun. Did they take the guns?
Oh, according to them, yes. They took guns, so they were. Yes, they took guns, and
when you go for the armory, when you go for the armory, you must get one thing: guns, guns, guns.
Yes, but they got it. They got a lot of guns. And I think they execute their plan. Their plan was to free the 1,890 prisoners. And it was done. It was done. They went to the female correctional center and did the same thing. So you could see them running on the streets. So to me, that was their target. Because if their target was the president, where they went for the armory, it's not far from the presidential lodge. It's about 5 minutes walk. So you will just go to the presidential lodge and launch your attack. But they did not went there. They went straight to the correctional center, which is about 30-minute drive. They went there and freed the inmates. They went to the female correctional center.
Do you know why they
and freed
the inmates? Do you know why?
Because of political prisoners. For me, because of political prisoners. They don't want to free them.
That's the answer.
Political prisoners.
Because I know that almost 90% of the people in prisons in Africa are innocent.
Yes.
Now, if I want to take over power, I must free them. Why? They are annoyed. If you free them and you arm them, they are assassins. Yes. I read The Art of War. Me, I want to say that, but I love The Art of War. Sun Tzu, one of the greatest Chinese generals of war, writes that in the art of war, create men that are going to die for the cause. Now, prisoners are ready to die for a cause because they know if they fail, they are going back in prison, and for the worst, they are going to be killed. Now, free them, give them guns. They are the worst menaces you can see at the battlefield. A prisoner with a gun is the worst soldier you will see at the battlefield. Give them guns. You have created a war. So it was the wisest. It was the wisest step the coupists did. Free them, arm them. If they armed them, or even clap for them, you are going to see trouble. You are going to see trouble because why should we have people in prison for years without justice, and you continue stealing the monies of the country? If a coupist can fail to get you out of power, let them free the prisoners, and the prisoners will fight their way out.
In fact, that was my point I was even thinking about. Now that these 1,890 prisoners are out, some of them are on death row. I could read the statistics for you. 1,890 inmates escaped from the central prison on Sunday. 155 were serving life imprisonment.
That's dangerous.
Yes, 155. 831 were on long-term convict. Long-term. 20 were foreign nationals. 10 of them were convicted, and the 10 were awaiting trials. 253 were on remand. 347 were categorized as being on trial. 100 of others were serving short-term jail sentences. And then 2 were on safe custody. These are the people that are out there. And to my fear, 155 on life imprisonment. What will you tell them? Which gun will you give them that they will not go out there to shoot? Because they know that if they see them on the street, they are going back to the prison to serve a life imprisonment.
War, if I may intervene again, for the viewers to understand my theory, I've told you one of the books always I wanted to read were on war. I love war, the art of war. I love Napoleon. I love the Israelis, Russia. I loved the Chinese and the Japanese. The Japanese would go to war. The samurai would go to war not to win, but to die in war. The samurai would go to war with one attitude: we win and we die for Japan. Now, the samurai were the worst enemies we would face at the battlefield, because an enemy who has no future is like a jihadist. He has come to die with you. It's like a suicide bomber. Now, a guy who has been on a death row is the worst enemy you can find at the battlefield. He has nothing to lose. In fact, his gun is his salvation. Now, I want to thank the coupists for fleeing such menaces. I call them the menaces of the world. Free them. And they cause havoc. Because I should tell you, the way your president has been killing people for the last 1 year, I support the coupists. I've been able to speak that online openly. I support the coupists because I don't want dictators in Africa. So by whatever means we get them out, I applaud it. Now, when you have the coupists out, when you have men serving the death row, they are the best combatants you can get. If they can have a front line, they are the best combatants. I'm not saying that we need to always good, always bad. No one wins. But what do we do in Africa when Western world is supporting our dictators? What do we do? What do we do in Africa when our presidents cheat their way to power? When our presidents kill us when we speak out, what do we do? You leave us with no choice apart from fighting you. Blood and iron, as Bismarck said, blood and iron. Now, that's the way to go in such a situation. There's no way we're going to be killed like hens, like cocks, like pigs. A president simply shoots people and goes away scot-free. For 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. What do you want the masses to do? Is the question I ask those who say, oh, we are peaceful. What do you want the masses to do? To die like hens or to die fighting? They must fight because self-defense is a right. Self-defense is a right. Over to you, Mambu.
Yes, we are already above time, so we'll only say our parting words, and we find another time to continue this discussion on the current human rights situation in Sierra Leone. Because I know that since those inmates are out there, those who are living in Sierra Leone should be careful. The fact that the lions are out there, I call them lions, they are out there. They are now hungry to fish out those who made them or those who put them in that condition that they are. They should be careful.
I'm concluding with this. If the coupists are for peace, mark my words, They will not harm innocent civilians. The coupists must know their enemy. Who put you in jail?
Yes.
It was that president. It were the politicians. So know your enemy. The enemy is not the innocent woman on the street. Know your enemy. So once the coupists start attacking civilians, I don't support them. Totally, I don't support them. But if I hear that the coupists have attacked a military barracks, I'll dance on a screen. I hear that the coupists have attacked a military barracks. If I hear that the coupists have attacked a police station, I will dance, because the coupists want change. Now, if you don't give us change peacefully, we are going to look at legally, as the constitution says. I'm a lawyer, that's why I speak like this. In my constitution in Uganda, we say that once the current establishment violates the constitution, the people of Uganda must rise up and defend the constitution. You get the point? I'm a lawyer talking with you. I'm saying that in my constitution, in my country, first schedule states that once the constitution of the Republic of Uganda is violated, the people of Uganda must rise up and defend the constitution. What does the constitution say by rising up? Rising up, I may rise up by writing. I'm a writer. I write books. I've risen up. I may rise up by talking online on a TV like this, but also I may rise up by getting and we face it off. Now, at whatever means you rise up, the constitution says, make sure that you must win. That's my word for today.
Thank you very much, Comrade Kato. Like we are saying, Sierra Leone, the issue have just started anyway. So we will continue this program again. We thank Dennis, our producer. He has done a marvelous job today. Thank you, everyone. We encourage you to continue to subscribe, share, and like at Humanist TV, where you will get your excellent information, not biased, not supporting anyone, but the fact and the fact and the fact. This is Humanist TV. We stand for justice. We support justice. We support human rights. We support people who deserve to believe. We know that we deserve to live. We know that we deserve to exist as human. We know that Africa needs to move from the position where it is today to another level. This is Humanist TV. Continue to follow us, share, and comment. Thank you, viewers. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you very much.